The Hula Bowl, around since 1946, and though it's no longer in Hawaii, they brought it to the mainland. It is still bringing football players, scouts, and teams from across the country and north of the border down to Florida for the game where they will test and get on the field to show off what they can do and help in hopes of making those NFL dreams come true. So, to talk all things Hula Bowl, we bring on Director of Player Personnel Todd Worley today on Scouting the League. Everybody, and welcome to Scouting the League. Excited to get our conversation with Todd and all things Hula Bowl today. But before we do, make sure you head over, like, subscribe, and share this podcast wherever you are listening and watching, whether it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or that video portion over on YouTube. Hit those buttons. Most importantly, share it with a friend. If you love ball, if you're in the football industry, you probably know somebody else that could get some insight. Grab a piece or two from this podcast, so we encourage you to share it with them. I am Rodrik David at Right Step ADV is where you can find me on X. 6 years with the Atlanta Falcons, spent time at all the All-Star games, spent time interviewing, doing all this stuff. Always fun talking All-Star games. My website, rsafootball.com, is where you can head over, find out more about me as well as everything I do to help those in the football world. Along for the ride today and really leading this podcast today is Neil Stratton. He is at Inside the League on X. InsideTheLeague.com is his website, helping those agents, players, everybody in the football world, as both Neil and I want to make the scouting world and the football world better each day. Make sure you go check out his blog as well, succeedinfootball.com. Make sure you head over and check out thescoutingcommunity.com as well if you are a scout or aspiring scout. For scouts, it is completely anonymous. You will not have your name out there, but we will be your unofficial union, helping you in every way we can, from salary surveys, data, information, finding out what is happening on other teams, helping you anywhere where your team is coming up just a little bit short. We want to help scouts out there in every way we can. And for aspiring scouts, networking, learning what you should be doing now, what you should be doing in the spring, the fall, to make sure someday you are sitting there in the draft room as well. For both scouts and aspiring scouts, head over to thescoutingcommunity.com, get signed up today, and I will hit you up. You can hit me up if you have any questions as well. Make sure you check out our partners as well, bluemaca.com. For those insoles, you slide them into your shoes, they will improve your performance just by doing that non-slip technology, whether it's recovery or that great turf toe piece they have. Get better just with those insoles. Bluemaca.com. Use code SCOUTING20 at checkout to get that discount, because you are a listener of this podcast. And get better sleep with the Inactive Company. Jill and Lori joined us a couple weeks ago. InactiveCo.com is where you can get that sleep mask or that sleep gear that every one of these NFL teams that made that international trip got as part of their goodie bags when they headed over. Sleep on a plane, sleep at home in bed, get better sleep, improve your performance with that Inactive wear or that sleep mask over at InactiveCo.com. As I said, Neil leads this one off. Again, friend of the program. Todd Worley joins us, so let me kick it over to Neil.
Well, 17 years ago, I was the executive director of the Hula Bowl. Almost 2 decades later, they've wised up and gotten a much better choice. Todd Worley is our guest today, the new executive director of the Hula Bowl for 2026. Welcome, Todd. Thanks so much for joining us, buddy.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. What you guys do for this industry is so needed and so valuable. And then the fact that I'm on here, this is such an honor for me. Thank you.
Well, we're glad to have you, man. Okay, let's start off kind of where we always start off. You have an unusual path into football. It looked like you're going in a completely different direction when you first got started, but here you are today. Tell us how you got here, Todd.
Yeah, good question. So I get this one all the time. So I played football through college, and then
Whereabouts?
I'm sorry?
Where'd you play?
Oh, yeah, at the College of Worcester in Ohio, Division III school. It was a 3-year starter at defensive end.
Good program up there.
Sometimes. No, it is. I love that place. I'm still super close with a lot of the guys I played with, and it was a great experience. And so as as my athletic career is wrapping up, I love the game. Like I football is in my blood, and that's why the three of us have so much in common. And then when I see scouts on the road, I know they have that too. And so that just always resonates with me. So wanted to stay in the game however I could, and I thought coaching would be okay, but wasn't necessarily what I was passionate about. And then so at the time, becoming an agent was really my goal. And so to become certified with the NFLPA, you had to have an MBA or a JD. So I went enrolled in law school for that reason, to obtain my JD and then become an agent. And then about halfway through law school, I'd already finished the hard part, where the first year is awful. And so I was done with that part. And then I started really networking, really doing some research and job searching, and then just started to learn more about life as an agent. But then I was also learning about, which I had at that time, there wasn't a scouting the league, there wasn't an inside the league, there wasn't any of that available. So I really didn't know much about the management side. And then as I learned more about that, like that was a no-brainer. So then here I am, already done with the hardest part of law school. Like then it makes sense. Okay, let's finish this out, take the bar exam, pass the bar exam, get that out of the way. And then since then, I've been pursuing the path in football. And then right out of the law school, actually, I went to Germany and played a season of quote unquote professional football there, and then which was awesome. And then as soon as I got back, I got an internship with the San Jose SaberCats in the Arena Football League, and that's how I got my start.
Nice.
Playing in Germany, you said quote unquote, hey, listen, pros are pros. If you're getting paid to play, you're a pro, all right? Yeah. You got any crazy stories, any fun remembrances from those times? That had to be an incredible experience on and off the field.
Oh my goodness. The ones I can share on here, what was so cool is the access that they have over there to football has skyrocketed since then. But like at the time, like there might be one or two games on TV per week, and they'd have to stay up late to watch. You know, I mean, it was just like in the coaching, they weren't getting great coaching. The equipment they had wasn't great. The field space, it was just like a totally different dynamic there. And so to see these guys, and they're not playing, you know, whereas here, if you're a good football player in America, like people don't do it for the prestige, but there is prestige that goes with it, right? And no one minds that. And so, but there, you're like like most people don't even know it, at least then, especially then, no one even knew it existed. So like you're beating your body up, you're working hard, you're doing all these things, and no one even cares outside of your team. And so it was just like the fact that they loved the game so much, and they were so eager to learn. They were an open book. Practices were so much fun, just because like they just wanted to learn, and they would try. Like, yeah, there are some funny things where like you could tell they weren't used to the game, they weren't familiar with certain things. Like we had in a game one time, we were letting the clock run down. We were about to kick a field goal on the last play of the first half. And so we had our field goal unit up at the line of scrimmage. The clock was running. We were just going to let the clock run all the way down to 1 second, call timeout, and then kick it. And then, so our holder wasn't even in the spot where the holder is. He's standing by the ref, like a long way away from where the ball's going to be snapped to. And for whatever reason, our long snapper just snaps it to nobody. And so I'm on I think I was a tight end on the field goal team. And so the ball so we're standing there expecting that there's not going to be a play here. All of a sudden, the defense starts sprinting towards us. And we're like, what's going on? So the ball's loose. They pick it up and they run out and credit the snapper. He actually caught the guy running it back at like the 2-yard line and knocked him out of bounds. Otherwise, it would have been like a 80-yard touchdown on the last play of the first half. But what was crazy about this is nobody, like, if that happened here, that'd be a big deal. And there, it was like just a regular play. No one thought twice about it. But so it was so much fun though. Like, and then when we'd have like one of our games, we had we beat a team that the club I was playing for hadn't beaten in 25, 30 years, and it was a big rivalry. They could never beat them. We beat them, and like seeing guys tear up and just be emotional about that. Like it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, yeah. There's been a couple players that I've been around or talked to that again went and did it. It was like, hey, I don't know what I want to do after I got my degree. I was a pretty good, again, Division 3, Division 2 football player, and I got the opportunity to go play, and like it was the best year. Like again, I got to go play football. I didn't really have any expenses. I got to hang out and see a part of the world I've never seen. Again, one of those experiences that not many get. So if you have the opportunity, again, I've told other people like, yeah, absolutely take advantage of it and go do it.
Of course, yeah. And then just like it was, we had one main practice per week and then a walkthrough before the game, and so there was plenty of downtime. We lived in a central. I was in a centrally located area, and so a ton of time to travel. And it was a once in a lifetime opportunity for sure.
Todd, I'm a food guy. Before we move off of Germany, what is the one German food that you, if you were going back, you would make sure you had this before you came back to the States?
Good question. Oh man, I wasn't expecting that. That's a good one.
Let's keep our guests off balance as much as possible.
Great, great. I don't know what it was called, but one of my teammates, his girlfriend, or no, his wife made something that was unbelievable. I don't know what it was called.
Really?
But yes, if I had to, I could try to reach back out to him, try to figure it out. That would be it. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
No pressure. Okay, well, let's talk about your time with the SaberCats. When you were with the SaberCats, the Regional League was, I don't know that it was thriving, but it was established. And I think it was a path that college football players could consider. And sometimes, with some notable examples like Kurt Warner, there were players that did advance. What was that like? I'm sure that you had a lot of responsibility on your plate, more than just picking the players. I mean, when you've got a small front office like that, there's a lot of shared duties. How did you gain from that experience?
Man, that was so valuable. Dave Ortoon was our O-line coach, but also the director of player personnel. I think I'm biased, but I think at that time we had the best evaluating team in the league, and we won the Arena Bowl that year. And just getting a start, and I always felt like as a player, obviously I played the game, and I always felt like as a player I had a good instinct for evaluating, but I'd never been trained at it and never actually done it. And then to be trained by him, that's like where I got my start. And he's been I still remember a lot of things he taught me to this day. So good at evaluating. And it was just understanding how to, I remember our head coach, for example, we had high expectations every year. We ended the season 13-3 and Arena Bowl champions. But at one point we were 3-3. We just lost to a team we shouldn't have lost to. And I remember we were at practice and our head coach, he wasn't sugarcoating anything, but the same, Darren Arbeck did a heck of a job. And he wasn't sugarcoating anything, but he said, hey guys, we're going to go to the Arena Bowl. We're going to win the Arena Bowl. We're going to turn it around. It starts right now. And he wasn't coddling anybody. He had that belief, that confidence, and then had a path to how we're going to do this. And guess what? We won the next week. We ended up winning 10 straight regular season games, plus 3 playoff games, won the whole thing. And so, and then just wearing so many multiple hats, like driving guys to the airport at 4:30 in the morning, doing multiple airport runs in a day, picking up lunch, picking up, just all the things like the kind of the grunt work, the slappy work, if you will. And, but it humbles you and it shows you what it takes to run an operation. And I've done all that stuff. And so that was at the time, it was just an amazing start to the career. Everything I learned and all the lessons I picked up from that experience.
Okay. All right. So let's turn to the job at hand. By my count, there are 6 games in the 26 All-Star cycle that will have a good NFL scouting presence. The Hula Bowl is one of them. Give us your 30-second elevator speech on, if I am a player and I want to get drafted and I want to play in the NFL, why should I choose the Hula Bowl?
Yeah, I'm going to try to fit it into 30, but
take as long as you want.
So I think the timing is big. Our game is on January 10th. We report January 5th. And so we're before the other, some of the other games. And so there's plenty of opportunity. And we invite other games to come to our game and scout our players. And so, I remember, for example, when I was at the NFLPA game, we had regular communication with the Senior Bowl, and that, and would say, hey, this is the best. It's Wednesday of our practice week. This is the best corner here. If you guys need a corner, like, he's who we'd recommend, and they would take that guy if they had an opening. And so having that communication and then having them present at our game is going to help. And so, and then the timing, there's plenty of time between our game and the other games to get back home, get back in the lab, train a little bit more before you go back to another one. And then the coach, you're part of a product that's been around for 80 years now. So much tradition there. And the coaching staffs I'm ecstatic about our coaching staff. So we've got John Gruden and Jay Gruden are our two head coaches. We've got John Fox, John DiFilippo, Ray Horton, Ron Zook, Ike Hilliard. And that's just just the tip of the iceberg. And so the guys we have on board to work with them. And so not only are we going to have a major NFL scout presence with us at the Hula Bowl, but to have when our game wraps up, to be able to have a John Gruden, a Ray Horton, a John DiFilippo, a Jay Gruden, John Fox, call people around the league that they know. You know how many connections those guys have? And for them to call coaches who are going to start to get involved in the evaluation process of that stage and say, I love this linebacker out of such and such, this running back can play, you need to give him a look. That is invaluable. And so just the tradition that we have, the timing and the people we have on board, it's an awesome opportunity for any player.
Now, the timing is unique. It is technically the first All-Star game, but there's a little bit of strings attached there. You're right in the middle of the CFP. Is that going to hurt your invitation process to have so many games being played and teams with obviously that you can't pick from because you have an early start? Is that a negative for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's no perfect timing for anything, right? So yeah, that is an obstacle, of course. But we like being, but on the other hand, we like being early and kind of a standalone, like by ourselves. And so yeah, that is something that comes into play, and it makes it a fluid process late because how long does a team last if they lose their first game or if they continue to win? That's going to impact things. But so it all comes down to our process and our people, though. And so I think if we are doing a really thorough job on the scouting end, and if we're confident and comfortable with our short list, and then it's just next man up. Just listen to let the board talk to you, listen to the board, and if a guy's unavailable, that obviously it's a good problem for him. His team's still playing for a ring, and then we'll move on to the next one at that point.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you alluded to the fact that you work with the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, which was a great game in its own right, and I'm frankly very disappointed it's not around anymore. It was the number 3 game for about as long as it was around, and very established, had a good run of about 10 years, maybe longer, I'm not sure. What are you going to bring to the Hula Bowl that you remember from the NFLPA game? Are there any innovations that you have? Any changes in the schedule? Are you going to do interviews differently? Will practices be run differently? Anything at all that may be trappings of your time with the NFLPA game?
I mean, well, so not only I got to do it for 3 years, 1 year in Tony Softley, it was his last year as the director when I was there on that staff, and then for 2 years with Dane Vandernet, and then we were going to year 3 with him, and then that's when it got discontinued. But so I'm so fortunate. Those are the 2 best bosses you could ever imagine. So to learn, not only to have them as bosses in any capacity would have been a blessing, but then to have them as bosses in an all-star game, which is very comparable to the Hula Bowl at this point, seeing how they operated, I'm pulling, a lot of people say I'm pulling a little bit from each one. I'm pulling a lot from each one. And then, with some of my own twists from things I've learned over the years, but those guys were amazing, great people, great at their job. And I learned so much from them. And so a lot of what we're doing this year is similar to just following those processes that proved to be successful for us under those staffs. And then in terms of just always, from having been at these games, from having been in the shoes of the scouts, from just want to make it as scout friendly as possible, and then also player friendly as possible, obviously. And so we want to do right by our players and do right by all of our primary stakeholders. And so that's the intent all along.
Tony and Dane are both class individuals and both friends of the program. We're really proud to have an affiliation with them. Dane's been on multiple times, and He's always great whenever he is. All right, so you talk about the scouts, Todd. Will you be the only one evaluating players? Do you have anyone else that will be helping you? Do they have NFL histories? How is that going to work?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So we have an amazing staff. That's the other thing. So that was key, getting the right people on board. And so our scouting staff is really good. We've got, I don't want to make sure I don't leave anyone out. Raleigh McKenzie, who we worked together with the NFLPA game. He's Reggie McKenzie's brother. He was a longtime scout with the Oakland Raiders. We've got Josh Washburn. We worked together in the CFL and in the NFL. He was in the NFL for a long time as well. Andre Ford is also on board. He was with the Tampa Bay Bucks, won the Super Bowl there.
Sure.
And longtime area guy. We never directly worked together, but saw each other on the road all the time and really hit it off. We've got Josh Buchanan on board. We've got Jim Maselli on board. They just love our scouting staff, and it's all about being thorough. And one thing I think Tony was, one thing I really learned early from Tony Softly is just stick to your guns. And that's why I'm really adamant about that with our scouts. Like, I don't care what a mock draft says. I'm not belittling any of those products because they're valuable. But I'm saying for our purposes, for our grades, I don't care what anyone on the outside says. I want to know what you think, and I want you to stick to your guns. I want you to stand up for a guy that you believe in, and even if it's against the grain. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. Like, we're all, like, I've missed on guys. Everyone's going to miss on guys. But so if you're wrong, you're wrong. But like, I want to know what you think. And Tony was amazing at that. Really empowered me, and that's lasted throughout my career. So that's one of the big. We're thorough and we're sticking to our guns. Those are two of the main focuses for our staff.
Now, are they formally assigned to regions, Todd, or are they just kind of watching what they can watch and then passing along players that they see? I mean, how does that work?
Good question. So we got off to a little bit of a late start, and so because of that and the timing of everything, I'm trying. One advantage I think I have in this capacity is that I've been on Arena Football League staffs, I've been on CFL staffs, I've been in the NFLPA game and the XFL, so I know kind of how to turn the volume knob up or down in terms of what resources do we have for travel and how much time do we have to travel. And so I thought we need to be as efficient as possible, so we're really not doing much travel. So it's all by film, largely by film, Zoom, and phone. And so because of that, we do have areas, but sometimes there might be someone with primarily in the Mid-Atlantic area, but they have a school out, and they might have Iowa State also. So it's not just trying to even it out in terms of the number of players everyone's responsible for. So yes, we do all have areas. They're not like stringent, just southeast, just west, and so I had to be creative with that.
Okay. Now, philosophically, Todd, do you see yourself as more of a traits guy, more of a production guy? And do you expect there to be a lot of guys, maybe from the FCS level, that have kind of slid on the radar? Or are you looking more for maybe players that are rotational on the FBS level, maybe at the P4 level, but didn't get the number of snaps that they had hoped to when they transferred somewhere, and maybe are kind of diamonds in the rough that way, maybe kind of a big school sleeper? I mean, how do you expect what is the makeup of the roster expected to look like?
Yeah, really good question. I think a little bit of everything. So I know, like with the NFLPA game, we would have like Sidney So, the guard from Eastern Michigan, was in my area. Got drafted in the 4th round and liked him a lot. And then he comes out to Pasadena, has a really good week, and then I'm sure that I would imagine that helped him, and ends up getting taken in round 4. And then there were, we had kid from Amir Speed, 6th round pick from Michigan State. I'm thinking guys off the top of my head, but I think we're going to find guys at the bigger schools that will be draftable or PFA types. But then there are going to be, we're leaving no stone unturned. So whether it's a guy at one of the top 10 programs in the country at the P4 level, or whether it's a Division II or Division III kid, if you can play, we're here for you, and that's what we're looking for. So you asked about traits versus production. I'm probably a little more old school in favor of what you put on film, but then also you have to analyze why they put that on film. And so is there a reason why that you can expect some upside. And does this guy have the makeup to achieve that upside? So the film is big, but then if there are the traits and you see some tools for how there is a path to some upside there, then you have to be open-minded about that. So just try to really give a deep analysis for each player and see who the best fit is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So again, we talked about how there'll be 6 games that should have significant scouting participation on the NFL side. That's a lot of games, Todd. We have 4 expenses paid games. Y'all are one of them. 2 others that require a little bit of participation, shall we say, by the player on how he's going to get there and his hotels and what have you. Is 6 games too many in the current NFL landscape, given how scouting has expanded, how it's so much easier to find film and all those kind of things? Or do you think there's a place for 6 games, when it comes to evaluating talent?
I don't think it's too many. I don't think we need 20 games, but obviously, but there are going to be some good players that we like, especially obviously some positions are deeper than others. Sometimes that's a constant year by year with that position, and sometimes it fluctuates year to year. But like, there are going to be some good players that we like and that are very much good enough to play in our game, but we're not going to be able to invite them. And so I don't think, like, give guys an opportunity, and then and you never know what's going to happen. So I don't think we need necessarily more than the number of games we have. But I think that we're kind of in a sweet spot right now. I think it's fine where it is.
Mm-hmm. Todd, the big two, again, you talk East West and Senior Bowl, like they're going to do what they do. They're going to have their own thing. They're going to probably listen to the NFL league office. They'll listen to some high level execs. But one of the great advantages, and again, the smaller all-star games that do things really well, is get a ton of scout feedback. Like, hey, what do you guys need from an interview standpoint, to practice standpoint, to, again, how the week looks? What are you guys doing? What kind of feedback have you gotten from scouts to set it up to really encourage a bunch of NFL teams to be there all week, spend your time doing everything, and really make it an event, an all-star game that scouts want to go to?
Yeah, great question. So I think based on, obviously the Hula Bowl has been around, so they've already got some really good things in place even before I joined. And with my experience with the NFL PA game, not only am I getting current feedback from scouts now, but then also I've seen this type of event be operated 3 times, and then so seeing what was really good, what could have been tweaked, and pulling all of that together. And so, it's all about, we're trying to make it as player friendly and as scout friendly as possible, and that's just my experiences and our connections, and also the connections that our staff has as well. Like we're not strict in terms of, like, this is how it has to be no matter what. Like, if we can make a tweak to make it a better experience for the scouts and the players, like that's a no-brainer.
Yep.
Okay. You talked a little bit about positions. When I was running games, I always, it seems like I tended to over invite sometimes and then struggle to find guys at other positions. Has that been the case? Are some positions easier to fill for you, typically speaking, Todd, or some a lot harder to fill? And if so, which ones are those?
I think you look at any level of football, I would say the 2 toughest positions to find guys that you like are offensive tackles and QBs. And that goes NFL, every all-star game, then all the way down, college football, high school. And so those are the ones where, like, every position is important on the field in terms of finding quality talent and quality depth at those positions. That's a challenge. And so that's we have to have. And that's one reason I'm excited about our staff and our process, because we follow that process. We have the right people following that process, which we do. Then I think we're going to get the right guys in those spots.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I think y'all have moved to DeLand, Florida. I think y'all will be correct. You'll have to tell me, I think, which school y'all are going to be. I think it's Southeastern. Is that right?
Stetson.
I'm sorry, Stetson. Okay. What makes that a good venue for y'all? Why the move? Have you taken a look? I mean, do you feel like the facilities are going to be requisite from what you can expect at a major all-star game?
The facilities are going to be really good. Yes, I haven't been there personally, but from what I understand, it's a really good fit in terms of we have full access to all the training room, the rehab stuff, the practice fields. And then one thing I love also that we're doing is we're having 110 players total. So, which is much smaller than some of the other games. And so the whole purpose to come to a game is to get as many reps as possible. And then like one thing that I think is so big about what we do is some positions aren't going to be relied upon for special teams at the next level, but most of them are. And so if you're trying to make your club, and especially if you're playing in the Hula Bowl, like you better be proficient on special teams and get as much coaching as possible before you step foot in an NFL facility where every single day is massive for you. So having the exposure and the experience and the reps and the attention, because not just the on-field reps, which are super valuable, but the individual attention you're going to get in meetings is really valuable. So I think having 110 players, we're maximizing the reps our guys get on offense and defense and on special teams. And so I think that's a really one perk that we have that I think I'm really excited about.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, 110 players is pretty much was the classic, I guess, roster size for all-star games up until maybe the last 3 or 4 years when games really started to expand because they had this problem where a lot of guys, the word was out, the scouts are leaving after the last padded practice. Why am I here? Why should I play in the game? With 110 players, that may be a bit of a risk that you run that if there is some attrition, ouch. You can't really just drag someone in from Stetson, probably. How do you combat that? Have you approached players? Have you approached agents about that? Or do you have any kind of leverage that will maybe encourage players to stick around for the long term and not maybe jet out on Thursday or Friday?
I mean, it's all I get as a player, it's always been the case, but more so now than ever. There's so many voices and so many opinions and so much advice they're getting. Some of it is great advice, a lot of it isn't. And so one thing I'm planning to hammer home with the guys who accept our invitations, both before they arrive in town and land, and then obviously once they're there, is we're expecting you to stay the whole week and play. And if you want to, I allude to the connections that all of our coaches have, plus myself, plus our scouting staff, plus everyone involved. And so if you want to take the risk that when you don't know who's John Green going to talk to, who's John Fox going to talk to, who am I going to talk to, and then if you want to run the risk that when they talk to a team about you, that they say, oh, he was the one that was, whether you're just a problem while you're there or whether you left early, like you want to run that risk, and this is your one shot that you get at this, and you want to run that risk, whether it's you or your agent, I question the wisdom there, but so hopefully that isn't a big problem. But we also have to have. That's another reason we're doing a thorough job. Have a solid short list of every position. So if an opening does pop up, whether it's an injury or a guy leaves, hopefully we can replace him depending on the timing. But I think it's really going to drive the point home. Like the last thing to me, especially if you're playing in the Hula Bowl, the last thing you want is to have the word get out that you were the guy that left early when you're fully healthy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, yeah, one advantage you had that I didn't have is when we had guys backing out, I had to get them across the Pacific Ocean. Florida's a little bit easier airport-wise than Honolulu is, so good on you there. You mentioned agents, and whether people want to admit it or not, whether people like it or not, agents are a major part of any all-star game. You've got to maintain those relationships. And I mean, one thing I really credit Jim Nagy for during his time at the Senior Bowl is he really embraced that. And we had him on numerous Zooms with first-year agents who weren't going to have a player in the game, but he was always kind of trying to cultivate those guys. Todd, where are you in that? Do you feel like you have a good breadth of knowledge of the agents that are out there that you're going to be working with? And if not, how do you kind of begin that process of really developing those relationships, knowing who to trust, knowing who might have players, knowing where to go, knowing what to expect from him? I mean, and if not, how long do you think that process takes before you're really comfortable there?
From having from my experience in previous stops, I have developed relationships with agents. But then also, I kind of liken it to if let's say you're an area scout in the NFL. You'll see where I'm going in a minute. But so let's say you're an area scout in the NFL and you've only been in, let's say, just the Midwest, and then all of a sudden you get assigned the West Coast. Okay, well, so yeah, you may not have been to those schools before. You may not know the exact protocols of those schools, but you know the same formula for here's what I do, here's who I'm going to reach out to, here's what the process I'm going to follow. And so it's not. Is there an adjustment period? Yeah, maybe, but like you still have the right process in place. You're the right person doing it. And so I already know and have relationships with a number of agents, and then the ones I don't know, I feel like I've followed that same process before and been in a product private event that's very similar to this one. And so understand where they're coming from, and then understand how we have to do what's best for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
We're sitting here, Todd. We're first week of November. Again, a lot of these guys, scouts are starting to think, hey, man, couple weeks left on the road. You got Thanksgiving circled. For you guys, that means, hey, we're starting to see the end of the season. How are lists starting to be pared down? Are you getting the invites out? Do you feel good about where you're at and everything with the roster where it's going?
Yeah, I feel a lot of it's going to depend. Obviously, to a degree, some of it depends on who the other games invite to, and then but like we're following our own process. Don't get me wrong. I just mean like there may be guys we like, and then the Senior Bowl invites them. Okay, and so we're probably not going to get that guy. But so I like where we are in the process. We're doing a thorough job and planning to start sending out the invitations in the near future, and just target the guys we like. And it's a fluid process. There may be some guy so the NFL draft is hard. Like it's funny when I talk to friends or relatives and they're like, scouting is easy. I'm like, dude, you have no idea what you're talking. And then if you only
people are, yeah.
But so the NFL draft is really hard, and that is in late April after you have so much more time to watch a full season of film, to watch every game if you want to watch every game, to get the medical, to interview the kid, to see how he tests, see how he met the final measurements and all that, and so see how he performs in the Hula Bowl. And then, but so that's hard, and we're having to make decisions so much earlier. And so some guys, by nature, you have to watch them early. You don't have a chance to watch the late season games before you offer them. That's just part of the process. So it is a challenge, and it's even more of an inexact effort than the draft itself is. But so. Yeah, I like the process. We're following a very similar process to what we followed with NFLPA game in terms of how we evaluate guys, how we stack them, and the different waves of invitations that we send out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I don't know this. I probably should have done this homework before I got on. Does the game have a broadcast partner right now? And if so, if not, is that in flux? I mean, where does that stand right now?
Yeah, we're the CBS Sports Network.
Okay, excellent. All right, that's fine. All right, I know that's been their broadcast partner in the past, and that's pretty widely available. So that's good news. What do you do? Is it possible to promote the players once the game is over? I mean, do you? I guess obviously the video will be out there because it's going to be on a major broadcast network. But are there ways for you to kind of promote your players once they've gotten their work done for you in DeLand?
Yes, both on social and then by word of mouth. I think just talking, and obviously, like I know as a scout, like you form your own opinion, and you welcome the thoughts of other scouts or coaches in terms of their thoughts on a player, but it's your own opinion though. And so I think like I'm gonna make a phone call, and then suddenly you guys skyrockets up the board because So I'm realistic with that. But yeah, I mean, like we'll, especially the guys that handle things the right way and play well, like we're going to do what we can to advocate on their behalf, of course.
So you have brothers, including one who's quite flamboyant, quite colorful. I'm trying to say. How did that develop? That you got the Grudens to come aboard? That's a really interesting pairing, and I don't I don't recall the Ryans ever coaching against each other in an all-star setting. This may be kind of a first. How'd that happen?
The process was actually well underway before I came on board. So I'm actually not sure of the how it all got started. But we're so excited to have them, and like they are so passionate about just coaching. They love they don't care what level it's at. Like they would coach anywhere, anytime. They just love football, and then to be around, to be a player exposed to those two guys, let alone all the assistants they have, such an amazing experience. And and like I've really excited to have those guys on board. And when if you're in a game. And I like the innovation and the opportunity given to younger coaches to have a role that's higher up the chain in an all-star game, whether it's like a position coach working as a coordinator or a coordinator working as a head coach, whatever it might be. But when, if that coach falls in love with a player, he can take that, he's going to go back to his building and share that knowledge, those thoughts, right? For us, if John Gruden falls in love with a player, if Ron Zook, Ray Horton, Jay Gruden, whoever it is, those guys can call the entire league. And you know how many connections those guys have? And so that's why one thing I like our coaching staff is just all stars, man. And having those guys, like obviously they're not going to just put their name on someone if they don't handle things the right way, they don't play well. If you do, that is such an amazing opportunity to really help your draft stock in a key part of the process.
Mm-hmm. We've got some time. Hopefully, John is still we'll say unemployed come time for the Hula Bowl, because it seems like half these college football openings, his name is getting connected. Because, like you said, it's easy to see, and again, that's the one thing that anybody that's ever been around him, the John Gruden you see on TV, the passion, the energy, like. That's who he is. And again, I could imagine a few of these colleges may take a swing at him, and that could make a little bit of a conflict of interest if he's coaching one of those squads down to the Hula Bowl.
Right. I mean, we obviously want everyone involved in our game to have whatever this does for them. We want this to help elevate them, and so we would be, we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
There have been so many all-star games in Florida, going back to the Shrine until recently, just a number of them. What's the advantage of being in Florida when it comes to all-star games? Why do you think it's so attractive being in the Sunshine State when you're trying to run something of this stature?
Good question. I think a combination of the weather, obviously, and then at a time of year where it can be bad anywhere, but it can be a lot worse in other places. Then so many guys are either from there, live there, or train there, and so. And it's easy to get to. So just a really logistical elements to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I think that's the logistics really favor having games there. Okay. So Todd, you've worn a lot of hats. We've covered a lot of that. You've done a lot of different things. What is your dream job? Where would you love to be in 5-10 years? Where do you hope to continue to be if your path goes in the direction you want it to?
Yeah, I initially got like a lot of us. I think I got into the industry wanting to ultimately get into the NFL and then work my way up to the highest level. And so as I've gained more and more experience, like I've really discovered, like the grass isn't always greener. First of all, despite the quote unquote more prestige a position might have, so it's all about the people and if you love what you're doing. And so if you're in a role where you like the people and you're fulfilled with what you're doing, like there's no reason to go anywhere. So we're in a constantly evolving industry. Like college football is changing by the minute, and then which impacts the personnel side too. Obviously, we all know that. So I'm thrilled where I am right now. I'd love to continue to grow this game and develop this game and stay on as long as they'll have me. And then, if never say never with other stuff, I'm just focusing on really just trying to knock this out of the park this year and into the future as well.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the fact that colleges are becoming a much more viable path now than they used to be. And there's, we have had the opportunity to talk to so many talented directors of scouting and GMs and DPPs on the college side, it really has become a viable path for people who are interested in evaluation. If you had your druthers, Todd, are you an NFL guy or are you a college guy with respect to maybe where your career is going and what might match everything as far as your personal habits, goals, all those kind of things? Is one stick out more than the other?
I would say no. I mean, like it's all. I think quality of life is important. The people you're with, the situation you're in, because like we've all been there before. If you're with the right people at the right time in the right place, this industry is like too good to be true almost, right? And then, but that it's that can be elusive to find that situation. And so if you're in that situation, wherever it is, college, NFL, another league, another pro league, an all-star game, whatever it is, I think you hang on to that and stay there as long as possible, because it's not, like I said, the grass isn't always greener. And so that's just been my focus is like, as I've evolved in my career, just really find the right people, find the right time, the right place, and just establish the roots at that point.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you're in Ohio. You probably get this question a lot. Are the Buckeyes going to win the national championship, Tom?
Man, that's such a Coach Day has such a hard job. Like he could win every game to the national championship game. And if they lose, there's going to be a legion of fans that think he's the worst coach of all time. Like just the expectations are you have to be perfect or else, and it's so hard. Obviously, they put themselves year after year to be in the mix for that, which is hard to do. And then one thing I think that's so impressive about what he does there is they don't have, you'll see really talented teams, even previous Ohio State teams, where they would lose a game they shouldn't have lost. They don't do that. Like he has them ready to go every week, and they have. And I'm not saying they're the only program that does this. I know other programs do, but like I love just the way, from having visited there, like they just create a sense of so much competition, obviously between them and other schools, but like there's so many players there. Like you take a day off and see what happens. Like you're going to be passed quickly, and they can't. It's just I think they like to say it's third and one every day you walk in the building, and you better bring it every day. And so when you have that mentality, top to bottom in the building, like they are ready to go every week. And so just respect that program, and I think that they've got as good of a shot as anybody this year.
Yeah, I think the remarkable stat I saw the other day, I believe 99% of his games as a head coach, he has been a top 10 team, which means there has been a bullseye on the full whole time he's been there. I think the real question with this Ohio State team is which one of these three guys, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, or Julian Sayin, belongs to be, at that Heisman presentation. Because again, Coach Day has those guys playing well. They've got maybe the best defensive player in the country. They've got the cupboard is full. Mark Pantoni, well done. Again, strength staff. I mean, there's Brian Hartline. Matt Patricia steps in there. I mean, he's got it rolling. Again, every good team, every good organization, every good All-Star game needs good leadership. And again, that Day has done. I think he's probably even exceeded expectations. So we'll see where it goes with Ohio State. But again, there's the cradle of football there in Ohio. You are in the middle of it, and being a smarter man than Neil or I, you are not active personally on social media. Again, I think if Neil or I could figure out a way to stay more off of that, we would. But the Hula Bowl is of course active. At Hula Bowl is where you can find it. I'd imagine if they tweet at you, throw your name in some of those, you'll probably find it'll find its way back to you. So you can do that. Stick Todd's name in there at Hula Bowl on X. Of course, the Hula Bowl website is out there as well. All of that will be in the show notes. But Todd, the couple weeks that again no break for you prior to Thanksgiving, and I'd imagine you'll still be working the film, working the phones over that Thanksgiving break when a lot of people kind of take a little bit of a breath. So keep working, keep grinding. We know we'll see you out there, and really appreciate you being on.
Yeah, this has been so much fun. Like I said, what you guys do for this industry is so welcome, respected, and valuable. And I'm just grateful that you guys do that. And then for you to have me on, I'm really grateful for that as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. Happy Thanksgiving, buddy.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Agents, before we go, make sure you go check out Agent Live 360. It is at agentlive360.com for everything you need for your agency, from players to coaches, managing profiles, tracking invoices, sending invoices, getting paid, keeping up on every element of your entire agency. Notification emails, file folder storage, ROI, transactions, invoices, calendar, contracts, teams, reps, everything all in one spot for you. That is Agent Live 360. Hop on, request a demo. Yours truly will hop on, walk you through it. I can promise you we will talk some football as well. Sign up now with code TRIAL90 for a 90-day, 3-month trial at just $10 a month for Agent Live 360. That's at agentlive360.com. Go check it out now.